Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? We are here on the Willie Bobo Show. I'm introducing myself as Nasir Green, and I'd like to give a special shout out to my school, Southwest Preparatory, along with Texas A&M San Antonio campus. And I'd like to give two special shout outs to my friends, Caleb and Jacob. Peace out, y'all.
Yo, Happy New Year! Welcome to 2026 and the first edition of the year for the Willie Bobo Show. I'm your host, Ox the Light, and today's episode is about truth. Not the truth we tweet, not the truth we repeat, but truth that shows up when preparation meets pressure. Because whether we're talking about college football 2025, historic basketball runs, or a high school gym during winter break where the same rule applies. Preparation always tells the truth. So let's get into it. So this week we're going to start out with the Ole Miss Georgia game. It's a game I really enjoyed. And it's a game I enjoyed because I was hoping that the outcome we saw was what we were going to see. So this matters for a reason that people don't want to talk about. Lane Kiffin is gone to LSU, bigger and greener pastures, so he made it seem. For years, Ole Miss's success was credited to one name, one personality, one brand. And this forces real conversation to have to happen. Because you see, Ole Miss in this Georgia game, second meeting, right? They blew it the first time, had them down in the fourth quarter. They didn't look confused. They didn't look impoverished. They looked organized. Efficient quarterback play, 300 passing yards, 300 plus passing yards, multiple touchdowns, balanced offense, 5+ yards per carry. Defense limiting Georgia's explosive plays and forcing long drives. You see, that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of position coaches, coordinators, strength staff, player development systems. So what really was lost when Lane Kiffin left? Not structure, obviously not preparation, not the culture, which flips the spotlight. Is Kirby Smart on the hot seat? So let's be clear. Nobody's firing Kirby Smart tomorrow. But yes, after this loss, the seat has to get warm. Their esteemed leader left. They were supposed to be a team that you could just trance through, but it didn't happen. Why? Let's look at it. Georgia got out-coached. They got out-adjusted. Ole Miss made second-half changes. Georgia didn't answer to those. Discipline, slipped penalties, missed assignments, poor situational football. Talent advantage didn't really matter when, it came to execution. That is coaching 101. Georgia built a dynasty, but dynasties still have to evolve. And in college football this year, 2025 and 2026 and beyond, preparation beats reputation. Now let's take a look at the Indiana-Alabama game. This was dominance, not a fluke. I've been telling you guys all year long about Indiana. And it wasn't even close, really, if you look at it. Because this wasn't a team getting lucky. This was a manhandling. Indiana controlled the game from the opening possession, dominated time of possession, won the line of scrimmage, controlled tempo, Indiana's quarterback, as we know, Heisman Trophy winner. I told you guys, high 60s percentage completion rate, 250 passing yards, 250 plus, multiple touchdowns, calm under pressure. Indiana's run game, 200 plus rushing yards, consistent chunk plays. Alabama couldn't get a stop on third down. And then you look at defensively, it's like Indiana forced turnovers, took away deep shots, made Alabama quite one dimensional. And you see, this wasn't Alabama failing. This was Indiana being ready. Because prepared teams don't need permission to dominate. Prepared teams don't need permission to dominate. All right, so let's move over to the hardwood because this is an amazing season for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. We're talking about an esteemed blue blood, if you will. Not so much since Coach Osborne retired many, many years ago, but still, notwithstanding, blue blood football team who now is 14-0 as I sat and watched them last night have a man-to-man game with Michigan State. And everybody knows a coach's team is going to be a hard team to beat. They're going to be physical. They're going to be efficient. They're going to have low turnovers. They're going to play smart heads-up basketball. They're not going to let you beat them, right? At most, they'll beat themselves. And that's what Michigan State did not do last night, to be honest with you. From what I saw, the Cornhuskers beat them. See, what I saw was a grown man team in the Cornhuskers. And some big, thick, corn-fed white boys who had them all over the place. And they could ball. They could ball. Right now, 14-0. Never happened in the history of the program. Never. Last night, they proved it wasn't a fluke by beating Michigan State. They controlled pace, won the rebounding battle, held Michigan State under 40% shooting. And their leading scorer, 20 plus points. Efficient shooting. Composed late game execution. You see, this isn't about hype. This is about discipline, player development, player buy-in. Because Nebraska didn't stumble into history. They prepared their way into it. And that's what's not really getting done on certain levels at certain schools. So now we're going to bring it all home because everything I talked about comes to fruition here. Because the same principles when it comes to coaching, when it comes to playing, it applies at every level. It really doesn't matter. Some levels are going to be much more in tune with much more mental preparation, much more scheme, you need more schemes, things of that nature. You have a lot more to manage and so on. But the general basics are going to be there at every level the same way. Okay. So right now I want to talk about what it means to be a high school basketball coach. Now, I actually had some good ones in high school that were old school guys, right? They didn't like the flash and so on, but hey, you couldn't stop us, right? Because I had a damn good basketball team in high school, and we were undersized, but we were highly athletic. We loved to compete. We didn't take losing easily. You were going to get a fight from us at all times. We were in shape. We were ballers, man. We loved the game. Um, so with that, it came down to what was in front of the jersey, right? Because it wasn't about a title. It wasn't about an ego. It was the responsibility. And I saw it in those coaches. Because when you coach a high school basketball team, um, you're shaping young men. And for some of these kids, you're the most consistent adult in their life. You're really the only voice of accountability that they have. You're the example of discipline. And what that means is that you're supposed to be at that gym during the holidays with it open, letting them know that it's open. And even though you can't have organized practices, you can still have that gym open. You're supposed to keep them in those open runs so they stay in shape, encouraging them to work on themselves, work on their game. Because I don't know if you understand this, but idle time hurts kids. Having an open gym keeps them sharp, keeps them safe, keeps kids confident. So, what happens when a coach doesn't do this? The failure when the season comes back in after the holiday season of 2 weeks of being off and no open gym, no run, no nothing, that failure is not on the kids, it's on the coach. Let's be honest. That is disrespectful. Very disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the players. It's disrespectful to the parents. It's disrespectful to the school. It's disrespectful to the whole community. Because those kids, they wear that jersey with pride. That's why they're out there. That's why they give a damn. That's why they play hard. Because they have the pride in, this is my school, this is my team, this is my jersey. I represent what's going on here, and I'm here. But when they step on the court unprepared because the coach didn't show up, that's a breach of trust. Preparation is protection. Prepared kids play freely. Unprepared kids carry blame that they didn't and shouldn't have to earn. If you're a high school basketball coach. So what ties all this together? Ole Miss beating Georgia. Indiana dominating Alabama. Nebraska making history. High school coaches opening the gym. It's all the same lesson. It's preparations, telling truth. Because titles don't prepare kids. Reputation doesn't prepare teams. Tradition doesn't run drills. People do. If you choose to lead at any level, you don't get to disappear and go down to the beach and disappear on these kids when you should have them in a gym, working out, getting their skills together. Because when the lights come on, the work shows, or the lack thereof. This is the Willie Bobo Show. For the people, about the people. I'm Ox the Light, and we're going to keep telling you the truth, whether you like it or not, from the high school gym to the national stage. Peace.